Ma'am, I don't think you can afford anything here. Maybe try the used lot down the street? The white manager's smirk widened as security cameras rolled silently overhead. Dr. Amara Williams, 38 and impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit, stood motionless beside the gleaming Mercedes AMG GT. Her manicured fingers traced the car's pristine hood, while Derek Stone circled her like a predator sizing up prey. The afternoon sun streamed through Premier Motors' floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the showroom floor. A customer in the corner held up her phone, live streaming to 50,000 followers. The viewer count climbed steadily. Amara's Hermes briefcase sat on the reception desk. A first-class boarding pass peeked from her jacket pocket. Her Apple Watch displayed 17 missed calls from Goldman Sachs. These real-life stories remind us why Black stories matter most when power meets prejudice. Have you ever been judged by your appearance in a place where your money was greener than their assumptions? Part 2. Inciting Bias. 985 words. Derek Stone adjusted his tie and stepped closer, his polished shoes clicking against the marble floor. At 45, he carried himself with the arrogance of someone who'd never been challenged. His arms crossed over his chest as he positioned himself between Amara and the vehicle display. "Are you sure you're in the right place?" Derek's voice carried that particular tone reserved for people he deemed unworthy. "We specialize in luxury vehicles here." The live-streaming customer, a young woman named Jessica, angled her phone to capture the exchange. Her follower count had jumped to 52,000 in 3 minutes. Comments flooded the screen. "This is happening right now at Premier Motors in Beverly Hills. Someone call the news. This is disgusting." Amara checked her Apple Watch. The display read 2:47 p.m. 10 minutes until her board meeting. She'd timed this perfectly. "I'm exactly where I need to be," Amara replied, her voice calm as still water. She walked around the Mercedes, examining the interior through tinted windows. "I'm interested in this model." Derek's laugh held no warmth. "Do you have pre-approval? These vehicles start at 180,000. That's before options and taxes." Behind the reception desk, sales associate Maria winced. She'd worked at Premier Motors for 6 years and recognized the signs. Derek was performing for an audience that existed only in his mind. Amara's phone buzzed. The caller ID showed Wall Street Journal, Financial Desk. She declined the call without looking up from the car's specifications sheet. "The AMG GT has impressive performance metrics," Amara said, running her finger along the posted details. 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. 503 horsepower. Derek moved closer, invading her personal space. "Listen, maybe we should start with something more reasonable. We have a nice certified pre-owned section that might be more in your budget range." The phone buzzed again. This time it was Goldman Sachs. Amara declined that call too. Jessica's live stream viewer count hit 65,000. Local news accounts had started sharing the footage. The hashtag Premier Motors Racism was gaining momentum on social media platforms. Sales director Marcus Thompson emerged from his office, drawn by the commotion. At 52, Marcus had built his career on reading situations quickly. But today, like Derek, he read everything wrong. "Is there a problem here?" Marcus asked. His question directed at Derek rather than Amara. "I'm trying to help this customer find something appropriate," Derek said, his emphasis on appropriate unmistakable. Amara's briefcase sat forgotten on the reception counter. The leather flap had shifted, revealing documents with Prometheer Automotive Group letterhead. Maria noticed but said nothing. "I'd like to speak with the owner," Amara said. Derek and Marcus exchanged glances. "Mr. Rodriguez is busy with actual customers," Derek replied. "But I'm sure we can help you find what you're looking for in a more suitable price range." The live stream comments became increasingly angry. "Someone needs to call corporate. This is 2025, not 1955. I'm never shopping here. Local activist accounts began resharing the footage across platforms. Security guard Mike Patterson watched from his post near the entrance. He'd worked security for 15 years and had a sixth sense about situations that could escalate. His hand moved instinctively toward his radio. "Ma'am, if you're not seriously interested in making a purchase today," Marcus said, stepping beside Derek to present a united front, "we have other customers to serve." Amara's phone displayed another incoming call. This time it was her assistant. She let it ring twice before answering. "Yes, Sarah." Amara's voice remained perfectly composed. "The board vote concluded 5 minutes early." Sarah's voice was clear enough for others to hear. "The Premier acquisition was approved unanimously. You now hold 67% controlling interest." Amara's expression didn't change. "Perfect timing. I'll handle the management transition personally." She ended the call and slipped the phone back into her jacket pocket. Derek and Marcus had heard every word, but hadn't processed the implications. "Now, where were we?" Amara asked, turning back to the Mercedes. Derek's face reddened. He'd invested too much in his performance to back down now. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to either make a serious inquiry or allow us to help our other customers." The white couple who'd been browsing SUVs stopped pretending to shop. They stood 30 feet away, phones out, recording their own version of events. Jessica's live stream had reached 78,000 viewers. Local news vans were reportedly en route. The story was spreading beyond social media into traditional news cycles. Mike approached cautiously, his radio crackling with updates from the front desk. "Everything okay over here?" "We're fine, Mike," Derek said, his voice carrying false authority. "Just helping a customer understand our inventory." Marara opened her briefcase and withdrew a legal folder. Goldman Sachs' letterhead was clearly visible on the documents inside. She set the folder on the Mercedes hood and began reviewing papers as if Derek and Marcus were invisible. "Ma'am," Derek's voice rose slightly, "I really need to ask you to—" "Actually, Derek," Amara interrupted, looking up for the first time since taking out the documents, "I need to ask you something." The showroom fell silent except for the hum of air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic on Rodeo Drive. 80,000 people watched through Jessica's phone screen as Amara Williams prepared to change everything. The silence stretched for 10 seconds that felt like minutes. Amara's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the growing agitation around her. Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot, while Marcus checked his watch nervously. "What exactly did you want to ask me?" Derek said, his voice carrying forced patience. Mara smiled, not the submissive smile people expected from someone being dismissed, but the quiet smile of someone holding all the cards. "I'll get to that in a moment." Jessica's live stream viewer count hit 90,000. Comments flooded the screen faster than anyone could read them. Local news alerts were pinging across Beverly Hills as the story gained momentum beyond social media. Mike Patterson's radio crackled. "We've got news vans outside," came the dispatcher's voice. "Channel 7 and Fox 11 are setting up." "Copy that," Mike responded, his eyes never leaving the group around the Mercedes. Sarah called back. Amara answered on the first ring, putting the call on speaker without warning. "Dr. Williams, legal needs confirmation on the Premier Motors management structure. Should we proceed with the immediate implementation protocol?" Every person within earshot froze. Derek's face went pale. Marcus took an unconscious step backward. "Yes, Sarah. Execute the full transition plan. I'll be conducting the initial management review personally." Amara's voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to moving millions of dollars with single decisions. "Understood. The documentation is being filed with the state now. You'll have complete operational control within 30 minutes. Derek found his voice. What documentation?" Amara ended the call and returned her attention to the legal folder. She withdrew a thick document bound in blue legal backing. The title page read, Acquisition Agreement, Premier Automotive Group, in bold letters. This documentation, Derek. She held up the papers so the security cameras could capture them clearly. Meridian Capital completed the acquisition of Premier Motors at 2:45 p.m. today, 17 minutes ago, to be precise. Marcus grabbed Derek's arm. She's bluffing. There's no way. Call Mr. Rodriguez, Derek instructed Maria. Get him down here now. Maria's hands shook as she reached for the phone. She'd worked retail long enough to recognize when the power dynamic in a room had shifted completely. That won't be necessary, Amara said. Mr. Rodriguez is aware of the transaction. He's actually quite pleased with the sale price, 67% above market valuation. The white couple edged closer, their phones capturing every word. The husband whispered to his wife, "This is insane. She actually bought the place." Jessica's live stream exploded with reactions. The viewer count hit 120,000. Premier Motors Owned started trending alongside the original hashtag. News outlets were cutting into regular programming. Derek's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and saw a text from the corporate office. Emergency meeting. All management to conference room immediately. This is impossible, Derek muttered, but his certainty was crumbling. The legal documents looked authentic. The timing was too perfect to be coincidence. Amara's phone rang again. This time, the caller ID showed Premier Motors, corporate. Dr. Williams speaking, she answered formally. Doctor, this is Janet Rodriguez, Premier's former majority owner. I wanted to personally welcome you to the Premier family and ensure a smooth transition. Every word carried across the silent showroom. Derek sank against the Mercedes fender as if his legs had stopped working. Thank you, Janet. I appreciate your cooperation during the sale process. I'll be implementing some immediate policy changes, starting with management evaluation. Of course. Whatever you need. Derek Stone and Marcus Thompson are being briefed now about reporting to you directly. Derek's phone buzzed again. This time it was a calendar notification. Mandatory meeting with new ownership. Conference room A, 3:15 p.m. Marcus pulled out his phone and saw the same notification. His face had gone gray. There seems to be some confusion, Marcus said weakly. We weren't informed about any sale. That's intentional, Amara replied. Management transitions work best when evaluated under normal operating conditions. Today's interaction has been quite educational. Mike's radio crackled again. We've got more media arriving. CNN, MSNBC, and local affiliates. They're requesting interviews. The live stream viewer count reached 150,000. Jessica's phone battery was dying, but viewers had started their own streams, creating a multi-angle documentation of the unfolding drama. I don't understand, Derek said. His earlier arrogance completely evaporated. If you own the dealership, why didn't you just say so? Amara closed the legal folder and placed it back in her briefcase with deliberate precision. Because then I wouldn't have learned how you treat customers you don't think deserve respect. She walked past Derek to examine a different vehicle, a bright red Porsche 911. Her movements were unhurried, controlled. Tell me, Derek, how many potential customers do you think you've driven away with your assumptions? Derek opened his mouth, but no words came out. Marcus tried to salvage the situation. Dr. Williams, we had no way of knowing. Your visit seemed unexpected. Unexpected? Amara ran her finger along the Porsche's hood. A well-dressed woman examining luxury vehicles in a luxury dealership seemed unexpected? The security cameras captured everything. The live streams documented every word. The news crews outside prepared their equipment for what was clearly becoming a major story. We should discuss this privately, Marcus suggested. Privacy is a privilege you forfeit when you make assumptions public, Amara replied. Besides, transparency builds trust. Isn't that what good customer service requires? Sarah called again. Amara answered without putting it on speaker this time. Dr. Williams, the employment contracts have been reviewed. Both Derek Stone and Marcus Thompson serve at will. No cause requirements for termination. Thank you, Sarah. I'll handle the personnel decisions momentarily. She ended the call and turned back to Derek and Marcus. Both men now understood their positions completely. Gentlemen, we have a decision to make. This interaction has been documented by multiple sources: social media, news media, and security systems. The question is, how do we handle the next 10 minutes? Derek's phone buzzed with a text from his wife. Are you the manager on the news right now? Marcus received a similar message from his brother. Dude, you're all over Twitter. What's happening? The story had escaped beyond the showroom, beyond Beverly Hills, beyond California. Videos were being shared internationally. Premium Motors was trending in 12 countries. What do you want from us? Derek asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Marara checked her watch. I want the same thing every customer wants, Derek. I want to be treated with dignity and respect. The question is, are you capable of providing that? The cameras rolled. The live streams continued. The world watched as Derek Stone faced the consequences of 17 minutes of assumptions. Amara opened her briefcase with the methodical precision of a surgeon preparing for an operation. The sound of the brass clasps releasing echoed through the suddenly silent showroom. 160,000 people watched through various live streams as she withdrew a second legal folder, this one marked with red priority tape. Before we continue, Amara said, her voice carrying the quiet authority of boardrooms and billion-dollar decisions, I want everyone to understand exactly what happened here today. She placed the folder on the Mercedes hood and opened it to reveal a detailed investigative report. The first page showed Premier Motors' logo alongside charts and graphs documenting customer complaints. Meridian Capital doesn't acquire businesses randomly, Derek. We research extensively. Her finger traced a line graph showing complaint patterns. Over the past 18 months, discrimination complaints against Premier Motors have increased by 340%. Derek's face went from pale to ashen. Marcus gripped the car's door handle for support. Specifically, Amara continued, flipping to page 2, complaints involving assumptions about customer purchasing power based on appearance. Race, age, gender, and clothing choices all factored into documented incidents. Jessica adjusted her phone angle to capture the documents. Her live stream had become the primary source for news outlets worldwide. CNN was quoting her footage in real-time updates. This is impossible, Marcus whispered. We follow all corporate guidelines. Amara's smile held no warmth. Corporate guidelines don't prevent individual prejudice, Marcus. They just provide legal cover when prejudice costs money. She flipped to another page, showing financial analysis. These discrimination incidents have cost Premier Motors approximately $2.3 million annually in lost sales, negative reviews, and customer defection to competitors. The numbers were precise, documented, devastating. Derek stared at the charts, showing his performance metrics compared to industry standards. But here's what makes today special, Amara said, withdrawing a third document. This visit wasn't spontaneous. It was a final evaluation. Mike's radio crackled with updates from outside. More media arriving. We've got international outlets now. BBC and Sky News trucks on scene. For the past 6 months, Amara continued, Meridian has been documenting Premier's practices through various testing methods. Mystery shoppers of different ethnicities and economic presentations. Today was the conclusive test. She held up a small device that looked like a hearing aid. This recorded our entire interaction. Audio quality is excellent. Derek's knees buckled slightly. You You recorded us? I recorded your customer service approach, yes. Just as your security cameras recorded it. Just as social media recorded it. The difference is, my recording includes your private comments when you thought I was out of earshot. Marcus's phone buzzed with a call from corporate headquarters. He ignored it. 47 minutes ago, Amara said, checking her watch. You told Maria at the front desk that I looked like trouble, and to keep an eye on the expensive merchandise. Should I play that recording? Maria gasped audibly from behind the reception counter. She'd heard the comment, but never imagined it was being documented. You also told Mike here, Amara gestured toward the security guard, to be ready to escort her out if she gets difficult. That was 31 minutes ago, during your bathroom break conversation. Mike shifted uncomfortably. The conversation had seemed routine at the time. Now it felt like evidence in a trial. Jessica's live stream comments exploded with outrage. The viewer count hit 200,000. Justice for Amara was trending globally, alongside Premier Motor Scandal. But the most interesting recording, Amara said, withdrawing a smartphone from her briefcase, happened 22 minutes ago, when you called your friend at Mercedes Beverly Hills. Derek's eyes widened in horror. Should I play the part where you said, and I quote, "Some woman is bothering us about the AMG, definitely can't afford it, but won't leave, probably trying to waste our time for social media attention?" The showroom fell silent except for the air conditioning and distant traffic. 200,000 online viewers held their breath. Or perhaps the part where you asked your friend to blacklist her if she showed up at their dealership? Derek's phone slipped from his trembling hands and clattered on the marble floor. Industry blacklisting based on racial profiling, Amara said matter-of-factly, violates approximately 14 federal and state laws. The legal exposure alone exceeds Premier's annual insurance coverage. She closed the folder and returned it to her briefcase. Meridian Capital specializes in acquiring underperforming businesses with systemic problems. We fix the problems, improve performance, and increase profitability. Marcus found his voice. What? What does that mean for us? It means, Marcus, that your employment future depends entirely on the next 5 minutes. Amara's tone remained perfectly calm. Derek's future was decided by his actions over the past 30 minutes. Sarah called again. This time, Amara answered on speaker deliberately. Dr. Williams, legal has reviewed the recordings and witness statements. They are recommending immediate termination for cause in the Derek Stone matter. No severance, no references. Standard liability protection doesn't apply due to willful misconduct. Derek sank into a nearby chair, his face buried in his hands. What about the Marcus Thompson situation? Amara asked. Less clear-cut. He participated but didn't initiate. Recommend disciplinary action and mandatory training. Probationary period with performance monitoring. Marcus exhaled shakily. Thank you. I can do better. We'll see, Amara replied to both Marcus and Sarah. Implement the Derek Stone recommendation immediately. Schedule the Thompson review for tomorrow morning. She ended the call and turned her full attention to Derek. Here's what happens next, Derek. You have 2 choices. Resign immediately with a neutral reference, or be terminated for cause with a permanent record of discriminatory conduct. The live stream viewer count reached 250,000. News outlets were interrupting regular programming for live coverage. The story was becoming national news in real time. Either way, Amara continued, you'll issue a public apology acknowledging your behavior and its impact. The apology will be posted on Premier's social media and website. Derek looked up, his eyes red with humiliation and fear. I have a family, a mortgage, 2 kids in college. You should have considered that before profiling customers based on their appearance, Amara replied without emotion. Your personal responsibilities don't excuse professional misconduct. Mike's radio crackled again. Dr. Williams, we have a call from the mayor's office. They want to schedule a community meeting about inclusive business practices. Tell them I'll call within the hour, Amara responded. She withdrew a final document from her briefcase. Derek, this is your resignation letter. It's already prepared. You can sign it now or wait 30 minutes for the termination paperwork. Derek's hands shook as he read the document. It was professional, neutral, but final. If I sign this, you'll provide the neutral reference? For employment verification only. Dates of service, position held. Nothing more, nothing less. Derek looked around the showroom, the cameras, the live streams, the witnesses. His career in luxury car sales was over, regardless of which document he signed. Where do I sign? Amara pointed to the signature line. Derek signed with a trembling hand. Thank you, Derek. Please collect your personal items and exit through the rear entrance. Security will escort you. Mike approached professionally. Sir, if you'll come with me. As Derek walked toward the back office to gather his belongings, Marcus stood alone, facing his new reality. Marcus, Amara said, tomorrow at 9 a.m., we'll discuss your future here. Tonight, I suggest you reflect on what you witnessed today and what you want your role to be in preventing it from happening again. Yes, ma'am, I understand. The live stream viewers began celebrating Derek's departure. Comments flooded in, praising Amara's handling of the situation. But the story was far from over. Amara had revealed her power, exposed the discrimination, and removed the primary offender. Now came the harder work of building something better. 30 minutes later, Amara sat in Premier Motors' executive conference room, its floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of Beverly Hills. The live stream had ended, but news crews remained stationed outside. The story had evolved from viral video to corporate accountability case study. Janet Rodriguez, Premier's former majority owner, joined via video conference from her home in Newport Beach. At 63, she'd built Premier from a single location to 12 dealerships across Southern California before deciding to sell. Dr. Williams, I want to apologize personally for what happened today, Janet said, her voice carrying genuine remorse. Derek's behavior doesn't represent the values we tried to instill. With respect, Janet, Derek's behavior was documented in 47 customer complaints over 18 months. The patterns were clear for anyone choosing to see them. Amara had spread Derek's personnel file across the mahogany conference table. Performance reviews, customer feedback forms, and incident reports painted a troubling picture. Regional Manager Thompson submitted 3 separate recommendations for Derek's promotion during this period, Amara continued, reading from the documents. Despite documented customer service issues, Marcus, now sitting across from Amara, struggled to maintain eye contact. I believed he was just being thorough about customer qualification. Thorough? Amara's voice remained calm but carried unmistakable steel. Marcus, look at these statistics. She opened her laptop and projected sales data onto the conference room's large monitor. Derek's conversion rate with white customers, 67%. His conversion rate with black customers, 12%. Hispanic customers, 18%. The numbers glowed on the screen, stark and undeniable. Those disparities can't be explained by economic factors, Amara continued. Our demographic analysis shows comparable income levels across ethnic groups in this market area. Janet's voice came through the speakers with obvious distress. I never saw these breakdowns. Our reporting systems didn't sort by customer demographics. Exactly the problem, Amara replied. You can't address discrimination you refuse to measure. She clicked to the next slide showing competitor analysis. Mercedes Beverly Hills, Lexus Wilshire, BMW of Hollywood. All 3 report conversion rates within 5% across all demographic groups. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. I didn't realize the disparities were so significant. Ignorance isn't an excuse when the data was available. It just wasn't prioritized. Amara's fingers moved across her laptop keyboard with practiced efficiency. Now, let's discuss the financial impact. The next slide showed revenue analysis. Premier Motors had underperformed its market potential by $2,300,000 0 cents annually, exactly matching the losses Amara had predicted during her confrontation with Derek. These aren't just moral failures, Marcus, they're business failures. Discrimination is expensive. Sarah joined the meeting via video conference from Meridian Capital's headquarters in Century City. Dr. Williams, legal has completed the liability assessment. Premier faces potential exposure of $8,700,000 0 cents in civil rights violations if the documented cases proceed to litigation. Janet's face paled on screen. $8.7 million? That's more than our annual net profit. Hence the acquisition opportunity, Amara replied matter-of-factly. Meridian specializes in businesses with hidden liability risks. We fix the problems and unlock the value. She turned back to Marcus. Your role in enabling Derek's behavior makes you partially liable. However, transformation is possible with genuine commitment. Marcus leaned forward. What would that commitment look like? Amara clicked to a new presentation slide, titled Premier Motors Transformation Plan. The document outlined systematic changes across hiring, training, customer service protocols, and performance measurement. First, mandatory unconscious bias training for all staff. Not a one-time seminar, but ongoing monthly sessions with measurable learning objectives. She clicked through detailed training modules developed by Stanford Graduate School of Business. Each session addresses specific scenarios documented in customer complaints. Second, implementation of real-time customer feedback systems. The next slide showed a mobile app interface. Customers receive immediate survey requests after each interaction. Bias incidents are flagged automatically for management review. Marcus studied the app screenshots. This seems comprehensive. How quickly can we implement? Beta testing begins Monday. Full deployment within 30 days. Amara's timeline was aggressive but achievable. Meridian has relationships with the development firms who created similar systems for other industries. Janet spoke from the screen. Dr. Williams, this level of change will be expensive. What's the budget impact? $150,000 initial investment, $30,000 monthly ongoing costs. Break-even occurs in month 4 based on improved conversion rates. The business case was compelling. Fix discrimination, increase sales, improve profitability. Third major change, Amara continued, clicking to hiring policies. Diversification requirements for all customer-facing positions. Within 6 months, 40% of sales staff must represent ethnic minorities. Marcus raised his hand tentatively. How do we achieve that timeline without discriminating against current employees? Natural attrition plus aggressive recruitment. We're partnering with Howard University, UCLA, and USC business schools for internship programs. Fresh talent without embedded bias patterns. The next slide showed recruitment strategies targeting diverse candidates from luxury retail, hospitality, and financial services. Each strategy included specific diversity goals and timeline commitments. Fourth component, community partnerships. Amara displayed logos from local civil rights organizations, business associations, and cultural centers. Monthly community events, financial literacy workshops, first-time buyer education programs. Marcus was taking notes rapidly. These partnerships seem extensive. How do we manage the relationships? Dedicated community outreach coordinator position. Full-time role reporting directly to you. Budget already approved. Sarah's voice came through clearly from the video conference. Dr. Williams, the legal team has reviewed all proposed changes. They meet or exceed California civil rights requirements and industry best practices. Finally, Amara said, clicking to the last slide. Performance accountability measures. Every employee's compensation now includes diversity and inclusion metrics. 20% of annual bonuses tied to bias-free customer service scores. The slide showed detailed scorecards measuring customer satisfaction across demographic groups, bias incident reports, and community engagement participation. Marcus closed his notebook. Dr. Williams, I accept full responsibility for my failure to address Derek's behavior. I want to be part of the solution, but I understand. If you prefer new leadership, Amara studied him carefully. Marcus, transformation requires acknowledging past failures and committing to future excellence. Are you prepared for that level of change? Yes, ma'am, completely. Then we'll proceed with your probationary period. 90 days to demonstrate measurable improvement in team performance and personal leadership. Success means permanent retention. Failure means replacement. Marcus nodded gravely. I understand. Thank you for the opportunity. Janet's voice carried relief and uncertainty. Dr. Williams, how do we communicate these changes to our other locations? This situation could impact our entire organization. Company-wide implementation begins next week. What happened here today becomes the foundation for system-wide transformation. Amara closed her laptop with finality. Premier Motors will become the industry standard for inclusive luxury retail. Sarah provided the final update. Media response has been overwhelmingly positive. Stock price for publicly traded competitors dropped 2% today, as investors anticipate similar accountability pressures industry-wide. The meeting concluded with specific action items, timelines, and accountability measures. Derek Stone was gone, but his removal was just the beginning. Marcus remained after the video conferences ended. Dr. Williams, may I ask a personal question? You may ask. Harry didn't just fire me, too. It would have been simpler. Amara gathered her documents methodically. Marcus, change requires people willing to acknowledge their mistakes and grow from them. Derek wasn't capable of that level of self-awareness. You might be. I won't disappoint you. Don't make promises to me, Marcus. Make commitments to every customer who walks through those doors. Their dignity depends on your leadership. As they left the conference room, news crews were still broadcasting live from the parking lot. The story had transcended a single incident to become a symbol of accountability and transformation. The real work was just beginning. 6 weeks after Derek Stone's resignation, Premier Motors looked fundamentally different. The changes weren't visible in the gleaming cars or polished showroom floors, but in the intangible shift of culture that permeated every customer interaction. Marcus Thompson stood near the entrance, watching his newly diverse sales team assist customers. The morning rush brought its usual mix of Beverly Hills professionals, entertainment industry executives, and international buyers. The difference was unmistakable. Every customer received the same respectful attention, regardless of their appearance or perceived purchasing power. Good morning, Dr. Williams, Marcus said as Amara entered for her weekly walkthrough. These surprise visits had become routine, ensuring accountability remained visible and consistent. Good morning, Marcus. How are the numbers looking? Marcus pulled out his tablet, displaying real-time performance metrics. Customer satisfaction scores are up 38% across all demographic categories. Conversion rates have improved 22% overall, with the most significant gains among previously underserved populations. The data validated Amara's investment in systemic change. Premier Motors was becoming profitable through inclusion rather than despite it. Tell me about the staff changes, Amara requested, walking toward the sales floor. We've hired 6 new associates in the past month. 3 are recent graduates from our university partnership program. 2 transferred from luxury hotels, where they developed exceptional customer service skills. 1 came from Tesla, with electric vehicle expertise. The diversity was evident. The sales floor now reflected the demographics of Los Angeles rather than the narrow profile that had previously dominated luxury car sales. Near the Porsche display, sales associate Jennifer Martinez assisted a young black couple examining a Cayenne SUV. Her approach was professional, informative, and free from the qualifying questions that had once characterized Premier's customer interactions. "How's Jennifer performing?" Amara asked quietly. "Exceptional. She closed 3 sales last week, including a cash purchase of the GT3 RS. Her customer feedback scores are consistently above 95%. Jennifer had transferred from Beverly Hills Hotel's concierge desk, bringing hospitality industry standards to automotive retail. Her success proved that excellent customer service skills were transferable across industries." At the Mercedes section, David Kim helped an elderly Latina woman understand the E-Class hybrid system. His patience and technical expertise contrasted sharply with the dismissive attitudes that had previously driven away potential customers. "David's background is interesting," Marcus noted. "Aerospace engineering degree, but he wanted direct customer interaction. His technical knowledge helps customers understand complex vehicle systems." The monthly community outreach events had created positive relationships with organizations that historically viewed luxury dealerships with suspicion. Local NASCP chapters, Hispanic business associations, and Korean American professional groups now regularly brought member events to Premier Motors. "The community partnerships are exceeding expectations," Marcus continued. "Last month's financial literacy workshop attracted 67 attendees. 12 have since purchased vehicles, but more importantly, we've established trust relationships that extend beyond individual sales." Amara observed the customer service interaction protocols in action. The bias reporting app had recorded 0 incidents in the past 3 weeks, a dramatic improvement from the pre-acquisition average of 4 incidents weekly. "What about the training program results?" Marcus's expression brightened. Monthly bias training sessions have become genuinely engaging discussions rather than mandatory compliance exercises. Staff members share scenarios from their own experiences and problem-solve together. The transformation extended beyond policies to genuine cultural change. Employees who had initially resisted the new requirements now actively participated in creating inclusive environments. "We've also implemented peer accountability systems," Marcus added. "Team members monitor each other's customer interactions and provide real-time feedback. It's created a positive competition around excellent service delivery." Near the service department, Amara noticed the customer waiting area had been redesigned with diverse magazines, multilingual signage, and comfortable seating arrangements that accommodated different cultural preferences for personal space and family groups. "The service department changes have been particularly effective," Marcus explained. Service advisor Rosa Gonzalez suggested the multilingual approach after noticing communication barriers with Spanish-speaking customers. These employee-driven improvements demonstrated that inclusive policies had created space for innovation and problem-solving at all organizational levels. "What's the feedback from other Premier locations?" Amara asked. "Initially skeptical, now requesting implementation support. Our Beverly Hills location has become the template for system-wide changes. Corporate wants to accelerate the rollout schedule." The success metrics were compelling enough to overcome organizational resistance. Profitability improvements provided business justification for values-based changes. "Any challenges or setbacks?" Marcus paused thoughtfully. 2 employees requested transfers to other locations rather than adapt to new service standards. We accommodated those requests rather than force cultural fit issues. Self-selection had eliminated potential sources of future bias incidents while preserving employment opportunities for those willing to embrace change. The customer feedback system had generated hundreds of positive reviews, highlighting the improved experience. Online ratings had increased from 3.2 stars to 4.7 stars across all review platforms. Most importantly, Marcus said, gesturing toward the bustling showroom, our employees report higher job satisfaction. They feel proud of their workplace culture instead of defensive about customer complaints. The transformation had created a positive feedback loop. Better customer service led to happier customers, which created better working conditions for employees, which improved service quality further. What about Derek Stone? Amara asked. Marcus's expression grew serious. He attempted to find employment at 3 competing dealerships. Word travels quickly in this industry. His reputation preceded him. The automotive retail community had taken notice of Premier's transformation and Derek's role in necessitating it. Industry accountability had become a factor in hiring decisions. Has he reached out to you or the company? His attorney contacted legal about potential defamation concerns. Our lawyers responded with the incident recordings and witness statements. We haven't heard back. The documented evidence had protected Premier from retaliatory legal action while ensuring Derek faced appropriate consequences for his choices. 3 months after Derek Stone's resignation became international news, Amara Williams received an invitation to speak at Harvard Business School's annual conference on corporate social responsibility. The Premier Motors case study had become required reading in business ethics courses across the country. The live stream video from that February afternoon had been viewed 12.7 million times across platforms. Jessica, the customer who documented the original incident, had been invited to speak at diversity and inclusion conferences about the power of witness advocacy. The story went beyond viral, Jessica explained to audiences. It became a template for accountability in real time. Premier Motors Beverly Hills had become a destination for business leaders studying inclusive practices. Weekly tours showcased the bias reporting app, community partnership programs, and diversity metrics that had transformed the dealership from liability risk to industry leader. The financial results spoke louder than any social justice argument. Premier's quarterly revenue had increased 34%, while customer complaint rates dropped 89%. The business case for inclusion had been proven with hard data that convinced skeptical executives across industries. What we learned, Amara told Harvard's audience, is that discrimination isn't just morally wrong, it's economically inefficient. Bias costs money, wastes talent, and limits growth potential. Her presentation included before and after metrics that demonstrated measurable improvements across every business indicator. Customer satisfaction, employee retention, revenue growth, and community reputation had all improved dramatically. The Derek Stones of the world don't just harm individual customers. They harm business performance, team morale, and organizational reputation. Removing them isn't social activism, it's sound management. Marcus Thompson had been promoted to regional manager, overseeing inclusion implementation across all 12 Premier locations. His transformation from enabling bias to championing inclusion had become a case study in leadership development and personal accountability. People can change, Marcus told business school students during campus visits. But change requires acknowledging mistakes, accepting consequences, and committing to continuous improvement. Dr. Williams gave me that opportunity. I try to honor it every day. The Premier transformation had inspired similar accountability measures across industries. Luxury hotels, high-end restaurants, and exclusive retail stores had implemented bias monitoring systems after witnessing the business benefits of inclusive customer service. Derek Stone had found employment at a used car lot in Riverside, earning significantly less than his previous Premier salary. Industry contacts reported that his attitude had improved, though opportunities for advancement remained limited by his documented history. Career consequences create industry-wide behavior modification, Amara explained to policy researchers studying private sector civil rights enforcement. When discrimination costs careers, discrimination decreases. The ripple effects extended beyond individual businesses. California had introduced legislation requiring bias incident reporting in customer-facing industries. Other states were considering similar measures. Real-life stories like Premier Motors prove that touching stories about individual courage can drive systemic change, Amara said during a recent interview. Black stories and life stories matter because they document both problems and solutions. The Premier case had become more than a viral video or business turnaround. It represented a model for addressing discrimination through strategic action rather than reactive anger. Economic leverage had achieved faster results than traditional legal processes. Change requires power, Amara concluded in her Harvard presentation. But power can be built through preparation, documentation, and strategic timing. Derek Stone thought he had power over me. He discovered that assumption was expensive. Today, Premier Motors serves customers who specifically choose the dealership because of its inclusive reputation. Former skeptics have become advocates. Employees feel proud of their workplace culture. The community views Premier as a model rather than a problem. Have you witnessed discrimination in business settings? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience matters and could inspire the next positive change. Subscribe for more life stories that prove justice isn't just possible, it's profitable. Together, we can transform every industry, one story at a time.